What is up, YouTube? And we just had the maintenance end, which was pretty much patching in a lot of stuff for the global release, which is happening on September 25th. And of course, what I had to do was check the archives, and I guess everyone else did because there's like a lot of news about it. But they did actually patch in Mizasumi A, and if you scroll down, Kokardi, the red DPS that is coming out. And these characters look absolutely amazing for not just PvE or PvP, but both. So I'm going to start with Mizasumi A because she's at the top here, and I will say both characters look amazing, so I highly recommend watching until the end so you can see my thoughts. But this character is a green healer basically. She has 120 base speed, which is pretty high for a healer, and you're going to see that she has an amazing passive. So basically, at the start of each turn, she will purify one debuff from all allies and heal them for 15% if she purifies a debuff. So CC's dead or what? So with the patch notes that came out yesterday, CC players were pretty upset because, Codex got nerfed, Kazuya got nerfed and stuff like that, and Alicorn got buffed, and there were also like some other changes to characters to make them better into CC, like Nymphoneal and stuff like that. Well, now we have another healer slash cleanser that actually we pretty much really needed because there weren't really good cleansers in the game outside of Doki Doki and Ling Luo. But she's going to be able to cleanse every single turn, and this is going to be really annoying for CC players, and this is going to be very powerful. If you guys actually think that this is going to be the strongest part of her kit because, this looks really strong, well, you're wrong. So let's actually look at her other skills. So she has an S1 single target attack, blah blah blah, doesn't do that much damage because you're not going to build it on damage. But look at that extra effect. So after you attack, there's a 25% chance to reduce everyone's CDs by one turn. So I'm not sure if this is actually her own or if it's everyone, but it does say all Animus skill CDs, and there's some like inconsistencies with wording in this game where this can either mean only herself or actually her entire team. And I think that it's going to be honestly just herself. Let me see. So Halloween doesn't really say it. So here you go. This is going to be for just herself. So you can see time weave here. At the start of the turn, there's a 35% chance to reduce the CD of all Animus skills by one turn. So I know I kind of baited you by saying all of your team's CDs, but now that I think about it and look at time weave, it's going to be just herself. So if you're thinking, oh my god, time weave for everyone, no, it's just herself, it looks like, so don't worry. So it's only going to reduce her S3 because she has a passive, and this is going to be a really strong ability because it will push everyone's turn meter by 40%. And then this, so I think this is going to reduce the Animus and Shell skill CDs of everyone on your turn. So when this says reduce all Animus skill CDs by one turn, I think this is for herself, and I think this one is for everyone. So you can kind of see what I'm saying. It's kind of like inconsistent wording, but I believe this is for everyone because it does push everyone's meter. And the best way to actually confirm this is let's look at Mia. Mia also does the same thing. Reduces all allies, Animus' skills, and Shell CDs. Hers is all Animus and Shell skills CDs. Okay, I'm confused, but I think this will be AoE for her team. I'm not too sure, but we'll have to find out and wait. But also, whenever a unit dies, reduces this skill cooldown by 2 turns. If this skill has no cooldown, you'll increase your turn meter by 80%. So that's pretty good. Yeah, I'm not really too sure how this will synergize because a unit dying, like she can't really revive herself. So I guess it's to speed up the game and to, revenge kill with like other units on your team, which is pretty cool. But if you pair her with like a Sonya, then like Sonya can just instantly res the character, right? So mostly, I think this is going to be a pretty good support character, very good in the CC teams. And also, this can end up being a super powerful ability. We'll have to test it out because even though the numbers and the skill effect looks crazy, we're really going to have to see this in practice. But definitely excited for this character. I really was very happy when I saw this because we really need some way to purify more, and she is bringing that while having some skill cooldown manipulation, which we'll have to test out. Now, the next unit is Kokardi. And this is the unit that I am most excited for. One, he's a red DPS, so we really don't have any red DPSs outside of Lian and Chloros, so I guess that's 2, but Lian you're not going to really use, and then Chloros is so niche that no one likes building him. It's a waste of lattice, as people say. But you're gonna see this guy looks absolutely crazy. So there's a lot of text, but let's start with his S1. His S1 has like this passive where every time he uses it, he'll deal damage to a single target and give himself Calamity Flame. And this is a undispellable buff, passive buff, and this is going to make it so that the true indirect damage added by Flame Strike, World of Warcraft throwback, which is going to be from his passive, is going to the damage is going to increase by 1.5% of the target's max HP. It kind of works like Revelation in a way, which is very interesting, and it's going to stack up to 16 times. So in long fights, this is going to ramp up like absolutely crazy, which is going to make him a very good DPS in Bruiser Mirrors right away. And now let's look at his passive. So this passive is super OP. When any ally is alive, so basically, if you're not the only one alive, Kokardi cannot be selected as the primary target by enemy skills. So yeah, it says this effect does not work when under control effects. Not too sure what this means, so if you guys have any idea or a speculation, you guys can let me know down below. But basically, you can't focus him down. It's like permanent stealth in a way. It's like Spectre Tenebria, if you guys know who that is from Epic 7. And when he has Calamity Flame effect, when he crits, it will deal 1 additional hit of true indirect damage based on the target's max HP. So it's going to hit again, and then it's going to also not be triggered by shells. So yeah, this is pretty important because you can't like cheese with some shells. And then after every 2 attacks, or every 2 actions rather, Kokardi deals 300% damage to all enemies, will push everyone's turn meter by 20%, and give himself a crit rate buff, and then give him 2 more stacks of Calamity Flame. Yeah, this is going to hit super hard because it's just like a passive effect. You have to realize you can S1, and then your S2 can proc after your passive, and you'll also push your team and also get crit rate buff. This is an extremely strong passive because, yeah, you're not going to be able to be targeted. So honestly, in a Bruiser matchup, you could even run him like not on Bloodbath, which is kind of scary. Maybe you still will run him on Bloodbath because there's a lot of like random AoE damage, like Rahu S3. But yeah, you can't be targeted, which is nice. You can't get sniped by Liliums, so that's pretty cool. And of course, that secondary effect, a lot of damage. That's all you need to really know. Then we have his S3, Ember Weave. So he gives himself crit rate buffs. So you could see with his S3, he gives crit rate buff, then he'll refresh it every 2 turns with his passive, and that also lasts for 2 turns. So pretty much if you're not getting dispelled or blocked, you'll have crit rate buff up forever. Then you'll deal 360% damage to all enemies, increase his turn meter by 35%, and apply 3 stacks of Calamity Flame. So just like a hard-hitting nuker, yeah, it's good, like decent single target. He's gonna stack up this passive and then do a ton of AoE, right? Kind of reminds me of like Roy Mustang and Spectre Tenebria together, to be honest. And this character looks really, really good. I think for PvP, he's going to be really strong. And I think for PvE, you're probably going to be able to use him in a lot of content as well. Probably even Sharon because, yeah, he's a red DPS. But like I said, with DPSs, it's always risky because if his numbers, like if his modifiers, I mean, I guess these are his modifiers, but like his base attack looks high, it looks really good. But if he doesn't actually do well in PvP, it's mostly going to be because he doesn't do enough damage, right? But we'll have to see how he actually does in PvP. I think like there's no real world where he ends up being terrible because this passive is just super OP because he just can't be targeted. So if you pair him like on Ban Protect 3 in RTA, and then you bring just like full tanks, like what do you really do, right? So yeah, we'll have to see. I'm definitely going to pull him and test him out. Like I said, these are just in the archive, so these can actually be changed. It's like TBD, to be determined. But at first glance, I'm pretty excited for these heroes, and they look pretty amazing. But yeah, let me know in the comments down below what you guys think about these two. I think they look pretty fun. I'm definitely going to pull for both and test them out. And hopefully, they don't require too many lattices because, looking at it, I'm kind of scared because I think it's going to cost a lot, especially Mizasumi A, because if you were wondering if her passive works like when she's CC'd, look at her level 5. You'll have to max it out. So yeah, thank you for watching. Make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next video.